I'm Robert Aaron Roomsberg, and I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy in 2003. I finished active duty in 2007. I decided to get out of the Navy, but I was still in my 4 years of inactive reserves. So 2 of those years I went active reserve. So I did 4 active, 2 active reserve, and 2 inactive reserve. I was aviation ordnanceman, 3rd class petty officer. So I didn't get too far, but it was a high enough rank. You know, I was proud of it. And in the aviation field at the time, there was not a lot of advancement opportunity, just because of the number of people in that particular rank in the advancement process. I was stationed in Everett, Washington, and being from Florida and living here my entire life in the sunshine, and all of a sudden going up to there where it snows all the time, I really didn't like it. And instead of making the decision to re-enlist and go somewhere else sunny, I just decided to get out and come home. My mother said, you can go to college or you can join the military. So I have a lot of my family is from the military. My grandfather was in the Army. Both my grandfathers were in the Army, and a lot of my cousins were in the Navy. So I decided to join the Navy. I enlisted in Altamont Springs, is where I was recruited from, over in Jamestown. And from there I went to the MEPS in Tampa, and there I got shipped off to Great Lakes, Illinois. I went to boot camp in July.
Okay.
Mid-July.
Very cold.
So it wasn't too terrible when we went, but it was as it went on, it got colder.
Okay.
And I didn't like it. So I went to A school in Pensacola, Florida, which is where I went to aviation ordnance school for, I think that was 8 weeks. And then from there, I got my first orders to Bremerton, Washington, where my ship was in dry dock at the time. It had just come back from the Iraq War, so I didn't go to that war, but everybody that I met on the ship had been there. And when I got to the ship, it was about 2 months from leaving dry dock and getting back on the water. My duty station for my enlistment was Everett, Washington. For the entire 3.5 years that I was enlisted, but my ship deployed to the West Coast countries mostly. We spent a lot of time in San Diego doing sea trials and getting recertified after the dry dock. Pilots had to recertify, and the air crew. So we did a lot of sea trials off the coast of San Diego and California. When I was on the ship, I was in a division called G4, and it is part of the weapons division. And so I was, I became in charge of weapons movement, specifically the electric forklifts and weapons elevators. So I got certified to operate the weapons elevators. So down below the ship, there's what they call magazines, where the weapons and bombs and missiles are stored, and they have to get on elevators to come up to the flight deck or the hangar bays to be loaded onto the airplanes. And so I helped in the movement of those. And, the electric forklifts, I was in charge of that program altogether, maintaining and emergency repairs and things like that. My first port was Canada. I forget the name of the city now. but it was my first port. I was 18 years old, and it was a foreign country. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, you know. In 2004, there was a pretty big earthquake off the coast of Hong Kong, about 300 miles off the coast of Hong Kong, and it caused a tsunami in Banda Aceh in Sumatra, and so we were deployed at the time, and my ship was the closest ship to the epicenter, so we were immediately dispatched, deployed to Sumatra and Banda Aceh to help with humanitarian assistance. So that was my first real participation in a worldly event. We the deployment we were on got extended because of that, and so I experienced an extended deployment. It wasn't for very long, a couple of months, but there was a lot of it's very surreal to think you think of a big wave like that, and the destruction it can cause is pretty amazing and scary. We spent a lot of time, about 1.5 miles to 2 miles off the coast of where this destruction was, so we would see entire oak trees and entire houses floating past the ship. Lots of yard stuff, children's toys, and out in the ocean, pretty far out there. So it was pretty surreal for me, and my time in the military. That was pretty eye-opening as a 19-year-old to see that kind of destruction, and the people who were in an emergency situation, they needed help, and we were trying to give them help as much as possible. Once I got onto the airplane to go to boot camp, that was pretty much my, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this moment. Once I got off the bus at boot camp, I was all in. Now, during boot camp, I didn't want to be there, and I wrote my mother every week that I wanted to come home, but she didn't come get me for some reason, so I had to stick it out. And then, I look back, and I had a really good time. I learned a lot. I became a better person because of it, and it was just a lot of fun. There are many times I regret not re-enlisting. I've gone over it 1,000,000 times, and the only reason I got out is because I didn't like where I was stationed, and that's probably my one regret in my entire life, is not sucking it up and signing a new contract, re-enlisting and going somewhere else, because I was given the opportunities to go somewhere else, and I was like, no, I'm done with this, I'm getting out. I was given 3 choices: Virginia, Guam, and San Diego, and I didn't want to go to any of those places.
Okay.
I don't really know why. Virginia, I probably didn't want to go because it was cold and rainy, and the other 2, I don't know, because I heard nothing but good things about Guam for Navy folk there, and San Diego, I was there all the time with my ship. We pulled in there all the time. I can't count the number of times I've been to San Diego. My dad's dad served in the Korean War. I can't remember off the top of my head when my grandfather served. I have had a number of cousins serve in the Navy. I actually went to boot camp with a cousin. I signed my contract first, but he was older than me, and I was still in high school when I signed my contract, so I had to wait. So he signed his contract and shipped out to boot camp 3 days before me. So though we weren't in the same group, the same class together, we were there at boot camp together. And at the same time, his older brother, who was in the Navy, who is now retired, they're both retired now, he was an instructor at boot camp. So I had two family members at boot camp. One was a cousin going through boot camp with me, and the other was an instructor who would actually come in and check on us.
Okay.
Not that he would play favorites or.
I was just going to ask you that.
But
nice safety.
He would come in. As an instructor and pull us aside. For me, I'm sure he did the same thing for his brother, but he would pull me aside, and once we got out of view of everyone else, hey, how's it going? You all right? It made it a lot easier, knowing he was there, and every now and then I would get to see a family member, I would physically be able to see the support. So it made it a lot easier to get through boot camp. I would never tell somebody not to enlist. I think that it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. For an individual to join the military, it changes you. It makes you a different person. It makes you a better person. I didn't see one person when I was enlisted that I went through the Navy with for my 4 years that it didn't change that person from an 18-year-old kid getting out of high school who doesn't know anything into an adult by the time they were 22, and they had some sort of life experience, but not just any life experience, a life experience that was strict and made you follow rules to just simply to make you a better person. I think now, the military is, there's a lot of jokes about the different branches, making fun of the different branches, and I'm sure we've all seen the memes about it, but the military as a whole is a family. It doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter, these days it doesn't matter what gender you are. Anybody can join, and once you have joined and once you are a member of the military, you have a respect for that other person. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done in your past, or what you're going to do in your future. You are a family. Those are your brothers and sisters. To me, being a veteran, I'm super proud of it. I'm proud of myself for doing that, for accomplishing that. It's not something that everybody can do. It's not something that everybody wants to do, and I'm proud that I'm a part of that. I would be a different person if I had not done that. If you have ever questioned joining the military, do it and find out. I think nowadays you can sign a 2-year contract and be done. 2 years isn't a long time. It's enough time to get in, figure it out, find out if you like it. If you want to re-enlist, you can. I would never steer anybody away from joining the military. It's a good experience to have, and you will be a veteran for your entire life, and you can always say that and be proud of it. You walk around and you say you're a veteran, the first thing somebody says to you is thank you, because they understand the duties you had or have, the things you gave up to do that, and it's an honor to have done that for people, and it feels good as a person to know that you made a difference, whether it be small or big. I made a difference somewhere.